This episode of the podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/lightscameranonsense. Visit patreon.com/lightscameranonsense to help support your favorite new movie podcast. Now, let's roll that reel.
So you're not going to do anything spontaneous? What? And I'm not putting you on the spot.
No. Casey and I are not spontaneous at all.
Like buying her a book?
She owns every single book in existence. No, we just hang out. We'll probably watch a movie or something. We got popcorn. Yeah,
so lame. Who watches movies anymore? You know?
Who would do that? Certainly not us.
Not this guy. Zach, I'm sorry that you're just a boring stick in the mud.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too much of a stick in the mud. I might be a little lower volume / energy this go around because I was very much not a stick in the mud last night when I drank way too much and stayed up too late.
Well, let's just hope it's not a problem, you know.
Yeah. I'm reeling from bad choices, and like bad choices normally that's a normal bad choice,
right?
But it's also an exponential bad choice where the older you get, the worse of a choice it becomes. So now I'm like making a bad decision that would have been, bad at age 21,
right?
22, but now I'm 30 and it's like 20 times worse.
It's crazy how time works that way. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, it's I don't even know. I just, at least you recognize the problem. We're not going to have to start having meetings, surrounding you and surprising you. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. Sometimes you just need it,
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you need to, you want to remind your body who's the boss. And then your body's like, you stupid fucking idiot, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you feel like shit for the next 48 hours.
Yeah. Whoa, 48 hours. You definitely need to slow down. Drink a lot of water. I don't know. Eat some chocolate. Yeah. Who knows?
I've been down in water. I've discovered a technique that does lessen the hurt, as it were.
Okay.
And it's as long as you're not like dying of alcohol poisoning already, don't do this.
Right.
Because you need to go get your stomach pumped. But for me, if I'm like, okay, time for bed, first let me drink like a bottle or two of water,
right,
and then like eat something, just get it in your system, and that way it moves through your body as you're sleeping.
Yeah,
so when you wake up, you're probably still gonna have a nasty ass hangover, but it's not gonna be as bad.
This is Zach's pro tips for avoiding hangovers, or at least lessening them.
Lessening them, yes. There is no trick to avoiding them.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
No, you know what? Yeah, there is a trick to avoid them. Don't drink.
Yeah, that's true.
Just PSA from Lights, Camera, Nonsense. PSA from LCN. Kids, don't drink.
I mean,
it's bad for you, and it does not feel good.
You can drink a little bit, but like
no. I'm saving you hurt and
you can
struggle.
You can drink a little bit, as long as you do it with friends and in moderation. I'm telling you.
What is moderation?
That's a good question.
I live my life a quarter of a mile at a time. Wait, what is it?
It's quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
Who is that, Zach?
It's Vin Diesel.
It's Vin Diesel? What's his character's name?
Family son.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Nonsense, where we give you all the latest movie magic you may have missed. I'm Nick. Livin' La Vida, Love Loca. Well, I don't know this. What is the Spanish word for love? Like just the emotion of love? Cause I know the French. No, that's the Italian one. I don't know.
Oh God, I
don't know why I went Ricky Martin with it. I don't know why I did that. I honestly, romance is in the air, Simmons.
And I'm Zach, stuck in a perpetual state of death, Smith.
Oh my God, we're going love and death. We're going both sides of it.
And robots.
And robots. Yeah, check that show out. It's on Netflix. And on I forgot the day, February 12th, 2022, let's dive into the previews. If you're actually watching us on YouTube, you're watching us late. You can watch our podcast in video form with our beautiful faces a couple of days early by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/goodgoose. And there you can check out the video podcast. You can check out extra video features, including video game plays, commentary tracks, and some bonus quizzes. We could see how knowledgeable Zach is in his pursuit of knowing all things and getting drunk and being depressed all the time. Yeah, you're just a big old bummer today, aren't you?
Well, the booze giveth and the booze taketh away.
Exactly. Your spirit and your soul.
That's my spirit.
Yeah.
Has been.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. Yeah. If you don't want to watch our beautiful faces and you just want to listen to our sultry voices, you can also just head to any podcast service. That's including Spotify, Last.fm, iTunes. I'm trying to think of AM radio. We're not on there. But we're everywhere you like to listen to. We are on iHeartRadio, actually. Touché. Just make sure to rate us 5 stars, thumbs up, do whatever you can to help support the podcast for free. If you don't want to toss a couple of bucks our way on our Patreon at patreon.com/goodgoose, that's totally fine. But if you would also like to represent the new represent the podcast, you can head on over to store.lightscameranonsense.com and pop on one of these Zach Heart Eye t-shirts that are back in sale and in store for the holiday season. I know once it ships, it will actually be after Valentine's Day. Didn't really plan for that going. Should have done that a couple of weeks ago. That's okay.
Yeah, I'll have it for next year.
Yeah. Next year, exactly, for when your relationship lasts longer than a year.
We are
I'm kidding.
high energy.
Acting.
This go around.
I know, yeah. It also includes, we also just released a couple of new designs, which will be in the store later today. If you're watching us on our Patreon. If you're watching us on YouTube, they're already there. So go check them out, store.lightscameranonsense.com. Let's move into the podcast. Zach, what have you watched? If you say Boba Fett...
Yeah. I don't think I've mentioned it, which is fucking criminal, but just to reiterate from previous Mandalorian talk,
yeah,
Ludwig Göransson is fucking phenomenal.
He is
he's
best.
So fucking good.
He knows how to make a Western tune, man.
Oh man, it's just I feel like that theme might be the best part of the show.
Yeah, honestly. Well, it's because of the inclusion of the Mandalorian and of the Mandalorian characters that they introduced a couple of episodes ago, that he's able to mix the theme of the Mandalorian with the theme of Boba Fett, and it makes an altogether better song, Plus the score just overall over the course of both of those shows has been just phenomenal. Chef's keys.
It's so good.
It's so good.
But in terms of the show itself, yes, I did, as we all did, presumably, watch the last episode of Book of Boba Fett. Takeaway from the show as it's all wrapped up. It is a decently entertaining ride. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah. Tonally, consistently.
Yeah. Pacing wise, it's just kind of all over the place. When it hits, it only hits pretty good.
Yeah.
And then when it drags, it really drags.
Yeah, you feel it.
So, and I get that. I've seen some takes going around, and it's like, oh, it's Book of Boba Fett because it's dealing with all these it's dealing with characters that Boba Fett has interacted with. It's like, so it's kind of like it's
a jumping off point for other characters.
I've seen people be like, it's called the Book of Boba Fett, but it's not about Boba Fett,
right?
Because it's about the other characters that he's come into contact with and the lives that he's affected. I think that's a little masturbatory.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're applying meaning to places where there isn't. I honestly just think it's a pretty meh built show.
Yeah.
Your main character isn't really all that likable. And a character doesn't have to be likable, but they do have to be entertaining and interesting.
Yeah.
And he's pretty flat. The best part of his story is resolved in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into this, like, I want to be Daimyo sort of story where you're trying to be a mob boss. And, like, I feel like you could have done the same thing, but differently, and it would have panned out better. Like, I think if we had gotten something like Godfather 1, like all of Michael's sort of come up, like doesn't want to be legit or doesn't want to be the mob boss, but eventually has to come around to it because he's the only thing available.
Right.
You know, so
yeah.
I think that would have been way more interesting than him just going like through all these episodes and being like, I want to be the head of this city that for some reason I have a really big attachment to now.
Yeah.
Even though that was never really established. Like, why? Why are you?
He was there for a couple of days, like 30 years.
Yeah.
Or not 30
Why
years,
is this
years
city?
prior.
You had more of an attachment to the Tusken Raiders beforehand.
Yeah. He picked one.
What is? It's so strange.
by the end
it's
of
like he. Sorry, it's like he walked into Jabba's palace and he was like, "Yeah, all right,
This is pretty nice digs. You know,
this is
roomy. I like it. No, but by the end of it, he's even doubting his want to be the daimyo of Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Like he, after all of what they just went through, and he when he's talking to, I'm already blanking on her name.
Fennec.
Yeah. He's like wrestling with the idea of like, oh wait, now that I am the daimyo, like, can I be a daimyo? Can I like actually rule this city? And you know, it kind of throws that question in the air, and they don't really answer it. They're like, well, yeah, you know, we just got to power through it because this is what you wanted this whole time. So now you've got it. So.
And the ending, the latter half of the season, or show, I don't know if there's going to be more than one season of Book of Boba Fett. So as it stands, the end of this series is basically just Mandalorian stuff and like fan service, which is enjoyable. You know, I don't know if we want to get like super into spoilers or anything with who shows up and where, but you know, there's a pretty big character reveal from the Clone Wars franchise that it was really cool. I liked seeing that character there. I think he looked great. But that's kind of all it amounts to. It's just he's just there.
And I you know what? Fuck it. We can go into spoilers. I feel like we need to really kind of let loose with how we feel about the show, since why not? So the character that you are referring to is Cad Bane from Clone Wars and Rebels. Several comics. You know, he's kind of a fan favorite. He's like the new Boba Fett of this new wave of Star Wars after the off of the prequels, leaning the Filoniverse, coming off of the prequels, going into the sequel trilogy. His character kind of became like this mysterious bounty hunter that we didn't really get from the original Boba Fett. And now that Boba Fett is the new protagonist, they kind of needed that mirror to him. I feel like he could have been naturally introduced as a villain without all of the extra Mandalorian stuff, like as an overarching like evil and everything, especially with how big the fandom is based on him. But they needed to have like multiple bad guys for all of these quote unquote heroes to fight.
Well, from what I understand, there was a dropped scene / script from the Clone Wars season 7 and 8.
Yeah.
That never really came about. That had Boba and Cad interacting quite a bit more.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be just like some sort of standoff. So I think that was kind of a bleed over for Filoni to
I get to
like,
do
get
that.
some stuff that he hadn't been able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you think he's gone? Do you think he's done?
so I've seen that the voice actor for Cad Bane is apparently pretty old. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is how they ended it, just to kind of close off that character. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't gone.
Right.
You know, like that's the kind of thing in a post Game of Thrones world. It's like even if you do see a character die on screen, if you're not seeing someone like
Not just Game of Thrones, like Marvel, most shows.
Marvel,
yeah.
yeah. Like we're in an age now where just saying someone died doesn't really mean anything.
Unless you literally see their body blown and ripped apart.
Well, and even then, we saw Fennec Shand. She had guts coming out of her, and then she was.
To be fair,
revived.
and I just want to jump onto that because a lot of people were giving Book of Boba Fett shit for the mods and how sleek and shiny and everything. And we already talked about this briefly, but when they went into Fennec's backstory about how she was able to survive her encounter with what happened in Mandalorian Season 2 and how Boba found her and rescued her for some reason. I always thought that was kind of weird that he just went out of her way for some person that he met and was like, hey, revive her. I mean, he recognized who she was, and that's basically what it was. But it wasn't to collect the bounty, so what really was the point? Doesn't matter. Maybe manpower. But we know...
Yeah, well, he took her to Jabba's to scout, so if you're going to apply something to it, I think you could do that. You could also feasibly be like, oh, it's a part of his spirituality from his time with the Tuskens.
That might be it. It's probably a combination of all three of those things. He needed somebody. He felt probably alone. He wanted somebody to be like his bodyguard, or he was probably already thinking of his future on what he wanted to do, and that meant taking over Jabba's palace. All of that being said,
but then again, it could just be bad writing. I don't know.
it could just be bad writing. Who knows? Yeah, but they're we've already been introduced to characters being genetically modified and artificially modified from like beyond the grave with Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader is a mod in all ascent.
Even back when he didn't die, but Luke's hand was replaced.
Yeah. So that
whole thing.
This technology exists, and people were like trying to like, well, how do you think this character's going to come back, or do you really? Why would they bring this character back? They should have died here. I'm like, well, because the technology exists and they have the means. I mean, the post-credit scene for this episode,
the stinger, yeah, exactly, the stinger for the end of the season,
which I didn't recognize the guy at first, but yeah.
Is somebody getting modded?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Because I guess which was weird. I thought that they would for sure tease something else besides that as a stinger. But does that mean anything for Book of Boba Fett Season 2, or does that just mean, hey, this character just isn't dead?
If there's going to be a Season 2, then yeah, I could see that happening. Otherwise, maybe pop up in Mando Season 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, what else do you do with Cobb Vanth?
But like, what are they supposed to do for a stinger? The end of the episode is Mando flying off.
Yeah.
To Season 3.
Yeah.
And like anything that would have, I guess if you were gonna keep Cad Bane alive, that could have been a stinger.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like that's on the same lines. And I know Cobb Vanth is a fan favorite. He's a big expanded
universe
character. So yeah, I mean,
Timothy Olyphant.
It's kind of it's indicative of a larger problem with the show, I think, and it's just like, why do we care?
Yeah.
Or why should we care? And the answer is Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah. and we kind of had that feeling, going into episode 5 and 6 and this eventual season finale. So it'll be interesting to see how motivated they are into continuing Boba's story, or if they're just going to move on. They're just going to move on to the other Ahsoka, Obi-Wan coming out on May 25th, which I think we're all excited for. And then, of course, Mandalorian, which should be releasing sometime in September, or October, or November, that time of year.
So last little bit before we wrap up, Boba, just because we've been talking about it for a minute. I think a story came out, I don't know if you saw, about the Luke Skywalker role in this show. And it turned out that not only was they CG'd it, it was a young Luke Skywalker, but unlike Mandalorian Season 2, where they kind of retroactively did post edits on Mark Hamill's voice to get it more congruous with younger Mark Hamill. They used an AI where they fed footage and sound bites from a young Mark Hamill from previous work he did, and then it generated those line reads in the show. And I remember watching the scenes with him, and I'm like, this feels really flat. But I suppose it's just the modulation. It's whatever's going on in the background. And it turns out, no, it's not modulation. It's just full-on recreation. Yeah. It's full-on recreation.
Did it sound like Mark Hamill to you, though?
It sounded like store brand Mark Hamill.
It sounded like somebody was doing a voice. It sounded like the actor. It sounded somewhat similar to the last time we had saw him at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. However, we know it's even a different actor mocapping Luke Skywalker. So they kind of did a similar version of digitally recreating his face onto another actor's face. But yeah, the syncing of the audio AI generated dialogue with the already CGI faced other actor, we've reached pretty damn close to that uncanny valley.
Yeah, and I will say the look of it is phenomenal. Oh yeah, it's outstanding. I
think it's better in this.
It was a little iffy in Mandalorian Season 2. But in this, it's like, it's spot on. Yeah. The only kind of misgiving I have about it is the sound. It sounded like a TikTok video or something, like the robot lady voice.
I mean, there are people out there who could probably recreate Mark Hamill's voice and do it.
So that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah, it's just like, why are we doing this when there's literal impressionists out there who, like, they would be able to do a phenomenal job? So, were you able to hear my dog?
Yeah, I was just saying.
Yeah, he's in a tizzy.
It's okay.
Now. But anyway, so I'll leave off the Boba talk there.
Well, it's
suffice it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just gonna finish it off with it's the whole Ian Malcolm, like, you're so surprised with, or you're so curious with whether you haven't stopped to ask whether you should. And it's we're at that point in technology. I was talking to my Russian supermodel roommate, and they totally agreed that we're at that point in technology where we're not stopping to think. We're at that point where we can. So they're saying, why not? They're not watching the sci-fi movies or things that are cautionary tales.
Yeah. I feel like it's a lot like when we first started seeing computer graphics in film in lieu of practical effects.
Tron.
Where it's just lacking. Yeah. It's a technology that maybe down the line could have things ironed out, but right now there's emotion missing. It reads pretty bland, and why would you do it when there's so much better alternatives?
I'm totally against all of it. Like, I think if the impressionists exist, if we have the human technology, the, like, physical meat and flesh and bone technology, quote unquote, to actually use, then why not use that? Why do you have to develop a artificial intelligence to do this job when you can have someone do even a serviceable job and people would be less freaked out by this. I think it created headlines. We're talking about it. People are talking about it. So that's press for them. But still, it's freaky because there's going to come a day when, unfortunately, Mark Hamill is no longer going to be with us. And it's going to look even darker in retrospect, looking back at that scenes.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think obviously this Star Wars fandom has some pretty decent problems with what they do and do not need to focus on, or what they need to get over and shit.
Yeah.
But I think as a whole, just fandom in general kind of needs to let go of this idea that once a person plays a role, they are that role. Mm-hmm. We see this a lot with like Wolverine and Hugh Jackman,
Deadpool.
Everyone has their specific Spider-Man that they like, and they'll go to the grave saying that nobody else should play Wolverine or Spider-Man or Iron Man or Captain, whatever, we need to get over it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen. They're going to remake these at some point, or somebody's going to have to come in. I didn't like Solo, but I thought their pick for Han was decent. He looked the part.
Nobody really super complained about Alden Earl and Rockenbacher. Earl and fucking Oppenheimer. I'm sorry. Nobody really complained about his portrayal of Han Solo because he did a passable job. I mean, even Han Solo, I'm sorry. Harrison Ford even gave the go-ahead and said, yeah, you're doing all right, kid. Fuck out of here. Sorry.
So I think, like, if we can just get over this insistence of, like, once we've seen it done by one person, it has to be, because that's where all this computer-generated, make sure we can have, Peter Cushing's in Rogue One, or whichever one he was in that they CG'd him into.
Peter Cushing was Rogue. No, Peter Cushing was Solo. Carrie Fisher was Rogue One. Yeah.
No, they both would have been Rogue One.
Oh, then yeah.
I'm almost positive he was in. They did the same thing in Rogue One.
No, doesn't matter. We understand.
Anyway, because like it's movies are, because these big franchises are made across so long of spans of time. Obviously, some people are going to pass away and they're not going to be able to reprise their role. But
not without necromancy.
Yeah. But as fans, I think we get wrapped up in like the legitimacy or the canon so much. Like, oh, if they look different, then that damages the story or whatever. And it's like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Just
move on.
People reassess how you're viewing these. If people can read books, no pictures, and then come away with
like a nerd,
an images in your head. Yeah. And they're gonna differ from somebody else's image when they're reading, but it doesn't make it any less valid. It's a different interpretation. Negate the story. Yeah. It's just like
this.
I think that's where a lot of the problems come from.
This the whole line of thought has existed ever since art has existed. Somebody's going to look at it completely different. So all I'm saying is we shouldn't have to be developing. We're going out of our way to develop technology to replace actors, not even after they've passed. It's like, just do something else, So all that, we're done. Book of Boba Fett.
So that's
okay.
Book of Boba Fett. And then the last thing, I'm still in a bit of a movie slump, so I'm just watching TV mostly. So I've watched about half of the second season of Central Park, which I mentioned to you as we were getting ready, and you were like, is it bad that I don't remember what this show is? So for those like Nick who have no recall of what this show is an Apple TV Plus show from Leslie Odom, Josh Gad, bunch of Hamilton people are in it on it. It's a 20 to 30 minute per episode sitcom musical, focusing on this family who lives in Central Park because the dad is not a ranger,
like a ranger officer, a park officer, ranger.
Park officer, yeah. So he's in charge of taking care of Central Park, and so it's just kind of. It's like Bob's Burgers, but in Central Park.
I think it's literally created by the same people.
It's the same animation team and everything. So season 1, I came away from that really liking it. I don't remember what episode I reviewed it in, but you could probably find that somewhere in our back catalog. Very much enjoyed the music. Season 2 is like an okay follow-up.
Is it worth continuing after season 1?
It's fun. Like, that's the thing with the show. I don't think I would ever classify it. I would never classify it as mandatory viewing or anything. But it's fun. You know, if you like musicals and animated comedies, it's a good pick for you. You get pretty much everything you want. And, you know, it's silly humor. They have... I think I mentioned this before. Stanley Tucci voices the old
woman,
rich, old rich white lady who lives in like this penthouse who controls like
could always use more Tucci
amounts of land in the city, and she's like the Mr. Burns of New York. And so that's a really funny role.
If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, I think you would definitely be a fan of. It's like more Bob's Burgers.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah. It's the same
comedy.
type of humor. Same, and Bob's Burgers does musical bits as well, occasionally in the show.
Yeah.
This is just a whole show with that in it.
Yeah.
Josh Gad plays like the narrator, so he's singing / narrating as things are happening around, but there's like an ongoing joke where he can't interfere, but sometimes he does, and then that gets him into trouble. And fun show. Definitely not. I don't think season 2, at least so far, is as good or as enjoyable as season 1, but it's still fun.
Is it coming out with a season 3? Because I know it's recent.
That I don't know.
Arc season.
I usually wait to finish things before I look up if there's another season.
That's fair. I am looking it up for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's already been renewed for season 3.
Okay.
So there you go.
So, I mean, yeah, I'll take more. I kind of feel like it's the same thing that I was talking about last week with Mythic Quest. I'm not going to be watching it day one, but I'll get around to it eventually, and I'll probably like it when I do.
Fair enough.
But that is it for me, Nicholas. Throw what you've done into the fire.
Maybe I'll throw a picture of me like actually throwing all the movies I watched in a fire.
Picture of Dorian Gray, but it's you.
God, I really don't want that. I don't want to see old me ever. Kill me before I become old.
Too late.
So I actually got the movie watching done for us this week, and in fact, I managed to smush it all into the last 48 hours. Well, because movies release on Fridays, sometimes Thursdays, and I managed to get that done. And then, you know, we of course record on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays, but yeah. So that's just how it sometimes works. I'm watching it, so it's also fresh in my memory, even though I'm bad at recapping movies. As you probably have surmised, it's episode 66, so you can tell.
Hey, are we gonna do anything for episode 69?
I feel like we should, and I feel like we
nice in the background.
We fucked up. Damn it, we fucked up not landing that on Valentine's Day weekend. That's kind of our bad. We're 3 weeks too early or too late. So I managed to watch 2 romantic comedies, and one was kind of more romantic drama. And then a final murder mystery. So I managed to watch Death on the Nile, which was a follow-up to Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express, which came out in 2017.
Yeah, these are based off the Agatha Christie novels of the same name.
The Poirot book series, of which there are like 66 books and like multiple short stories and a play or two. Been adapted multiple times. Poirot has been portrayed by like 20 different people. Speaking of portrayals of famous characters. And I didn't mention that when we were talking about Boba Fett. I promise I'm not regressing into the conversation. But
everything comes back to Boba Fett.
It's the center of the universe. No, but we are so fine with Batman being replaced, with Spider-Man being replaced, with James Bond being replaced, but for some reason we can't handle the fucking Star Wars fandom. Anyway, I watched Death on the Nile based off the Agatha Christie book. And what I will say is that, and I actually rewatched Murder on the Orient Express just a few days earlier. If you follow my freaking Letterboxd profile, which I'll link down below, I don't care. I actually review every movie that I watch as I'm watching it or as I finish watching it. And I'm up to, I think, like 24 movies so far this year. I'm a busy boy. I hope to watch at least 365 movies. So... that doesn't mean like a movie a day, but you know, I'm pretty bad at watching movies. I don't think I'll make it, but do you want to make a bet?
No.
No? Okay, I don't want to either. I don't think I'll make that goal. That's probably for the best. I don't know why I like to challenge myself on that kind of stupid shit, but it's one of those goals I know I could possibly make. Like if I really force it, like come December.
It's probably the same thing in the brain that makes you think, yeah, 3 a.m, you can have another drink.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, that sounds very real and very personal, Zach. Did that happen?
No.
So, Death on the Nile, if you're unfamiliar, is another Poirot story, as I've said, where Poirot is asked to help. I don't want to get too much into the story. We'll go to...
read the synopsis.
Synopsis here.
The summarization.
Yes. I'll cut this out. Because this was part of my notes that I forgot to write in. The book follows Poirot going to Egypt and solving a case for his personal friend Book, who appeared in Murder on the Orient Express, and it gets hired to protect a rich heiress who just married her best friend's former fiance, and so there's trouble afoot. There's already like there's romance in the air and betrayal, and you can already tell that there's certain suspects. Drama. Before he's even invited onto the Karnak, which is the name of the boat in the movie.
Evil Act.
And there's ulterior motives both for Poirot and several of the characters in the film. I'll just go down the list because it's one of those ensemble casts where you're like, okay, and then all right.
There's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Kenneth Branagh, of course, plays Poirot. You've got Tom Bateman, who plays Book, I believe. Annette Bening, Russell Brand, who hasn't been in anything in quite a while because he's too busy being a self-help guru.
Amongst other things. Dawn French, Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, Rose Leslie, who you may remember from Game of Thrones, who does a really great French accent, I have to say. Letitia Wright and Jennifer Saunders, among others. The movie was originally supposed to come out in December of 2019, and it was one of those first movies that was like, oh shit, pandemic, let's push it back. And then they pushed it back again. And then they pushed it back again. It was delayed about as many times as No Time to Die. When's Morbius coming out?
It is coming out in May.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but they have to because they just released a new poster and are planning on releasing, I believe, another Super Bowl ad, if I'm not mistaken. It was also...
I'll believe it when I see it.
Are you going to see it, though?
No.
So... you'll believe it when I see it.
I'll believe it when I see that it's been released.
Right. Okay.
When I watch it.
The film was also banned in Lebanon and Kuwait due to Gal Gadot's IDF background because she was in the Iranian military, due to that being a thing you have to do. But let me just I'll go off by saying that visually it is a stunning film. Of course, the budget is put into the set design, the costume design, obviously hiring of the actors involved. But it's a movie that I feel was released about 3 controversies too late.
Yeah.
With Army Hammer's
you were going down the cast list, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. With Army Hammer's troubles with, I guess, eating people. I don't know if this is like a Richard Gere hamster issue or not, but his whole deal, you got Gal Gadot being very, very open with her feeling on the Iranian-Palestine situation, conflict. I don't want to. It's a slippery slope with that. But just basically her side of that, and Letitia Wright, of course, being anti-vax and just being an overall fucking troublemaker on the set of Black Panther. It's definitely has all of that. You're thinking about that kind of in the background, or at least people who are aware of that kind of situation is in the background. So it seems like a movie that was released far too late for it to be profitable, I guess, in the eyes of Hollywood, the people who know of this stuff and who are going to be seeing the film. I will say that the mystery itself is pretty by the books. You kind of I actually just got that. That was not intended. Pun literally not intended. But I think that a lot of people or a lot of the actors in the film are somewhat muted. It doesn't feel like they're really able to dig into their characters as much because you don't really get to spend a lot of time with the characters. It's a pretty rushed story, and I actually felt that way about Murder on the Orient Express. I think with a 2.5-hour runtime, even with the length of the story that they're based on themselves, I feel like it's not enough to explore and possibly enhance the mystery of the film. Certain characters are introduced, have like one scene and then are no longer in the film. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. However, I will say that it is way more exciting and definitely more dramatized than Murder on the Orient Express. There's a lot more going on. It's not just a lot of nuance and like trying to figure out who's doing it, and especially if you kind of have a feeling of who did it and you're trying to solve the murder along with watching the film, you're like,
Yeah.
this seems kind of obvious. But all that being said, it's an old story. All right, you can't fucking.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I feel like there's this common occurrence with adaptations of older properties where stop, dog's crying at me.
Oh.
There's this thing with adaptations of older things where they don't translate as well to a different medium, or the effect is a little limited just because we've seen similar things since then.
Right.
You know, so you kind of have to contextualize like, oh, this was revolutionary for its time.
Right.
But now we've kind of seen this same sort of mystery a few times already.
I will appreciate that they set it in the time period of the book's release. It's set, just after the Great Depression, country's still reeling from all of that. Finance, obviously, people wanting to be rich after having to be so poor, and obviously racism is a huge factor into how characters are accusing other characters. It still feels relevant as a story, but it's obviously set in a very specific time period, and so tensions are enhanced in different ways. I do like that they do contribute to the background of Poirot's character. You have kind of a flashback at the beginning of the film and closer towards the end. And I'm interested to see where they go with the character from here. I know Kenneth Branagh in an interview has said that he wants to kind of create a Poirot cinematic universe kind of thing. But I mean, as long as it's successful, why not? And everyone loves a good murder mystery. So
here's the thing too: that is not that far-fetched of a thing to be like, yeah, we want to make more of these things because there's like 30 fucking books, you know? So, of course you would want to adapt that if they're successful.
Yeah.
It's not like the Monsterverse or whatever they were fucking planning.
With the
not the Dark Universe, the separate Monsterverse.
the Godzilla. Oh no, you're thinking of the Godzilla King Kong.
That is what it's called. There was one where it was like the doing all the Universal.
Yeah, that was the
monsters.
Dark Universe.
The follow up to the Dark Universe. The one after Invisible Man came out, and they were like, yeah, we want to do this whole thing. So next up is Wolfman.
I think that's the same thing. I think they're both Dark Universe.
It's still called the Dark Universe. I thought they renamed it because the Dark Universe flopped so far.
No, the Monsterverse is the Godzilla King Kong.
It's the Godzilla one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I misspoke.
That's okay. No, it's all right. Because there's so many universes going on right now. You know, you have MCU, the DCEU, the PCU now with the Poirot Cinematic Universe. So,
oh, you know what? There was the Greek gods one that I haven't heard of in like 2 years, where there's not even a movie out yet.
What is this?
But they were like, oh gosh, I gotta see if I can find it. It was like a year or two ago when they were like, we talked about it on a news docket. They wanted to do a Greek god universe, and do like individual movies for like Zeus and Hades and shit.
What is Bella doing in the background?
She's, hey, don't lick that. Bella, you fucking freak.
She was doing I was like, what is going on? The blanket is moving, she's licking the pillow, what's happening?
Oh my god, I'm gonna throw a sock at you. No, I don't have anything that's soft. Stop it, you freak. Alright.
Well, okay, so Death on the Nile, I think is still a fun watch, especially if you're a fan of a good murder mystery. But like I said, a lot of the performances, especially for the characters, were not in the film for the entire... I feel like they didn't expand on the characters, and so I will say that it could have done more, but it's still a perfectly fine, serviceable movie. What was it?
Was anyone in denial?
Yes, actually.
All right. So it
both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a river, but also not.
Yes, it's also a state of being.
Oh, God, I'm never gonna be able to find this. Oh wait, here we go.
Good one.
From Sharedog, the global authority in mixed martial arts. So you know this is a good resource.
This is worth it.
Oh, damn it. No, it's just some... yeah, they're like talking about it, but it's not a news story. Damn it. Okay. If you go back... we talked about it on a news docket.
Right.
But yeah, it was a Greek mythology shared universe that they wanted to do.
So the thing that already exists in written form?
Yes, but they wanted to do it in movies.
Okay.
With no one attached.
Literally no one. No plan.
Okay, here we go. Apparently there is a Greek mythology cinematic universe cast list already, work in progress.
Give it to me.
Films in order.
Okay.
Noah Centineo would play Theseus, and Theseus, champion of Athens. Haley Lou Richardson.
Okay.
Okay, this cast list is way too fucking long. I don't know if this is real, actually. This might be a fan casting. But supposedly if these movies are real, then...
Didn't Noah Centineo... Oh, no, he's in he's in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Or no, I'm sorry.
He?
No, he's in Black Adam, because he's...
oh, yes, yeah.
He's Atom Smasher, I think. So he's literally going to play a character in a universe that has Greek gods, so... I don't know. Split the diff.
Worked for The Rock.
Fuck.
Typecasting.
Noah Centineo, though. No, because The Rock has been pushing for this role for like 10 years. Literally.
I just meant doing the mythological.
Oh, yeah. Because he's literally been Hercules. He's literally been
the Scorpion.
The Scorpion King. I don't know if that is that. I mean, is that a
the true?
Is that
Greek god
Of
the
scorpions.
Scorpion King.
The next movie I watched two romantic movies in honor of the holidays, Zach, being sad and alone. I was trying to get tips. So I watched...
Trying to get some tips.
Yeah. I watched Marry Me, which was released both theatrically and on Peacock Premium. Get that premium Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And starring Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez and Sarah Silverman.
Okay. Until you mentioned Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson, honestly, I had no fucking idea what this movie is.
Fair enough.
The only reason I know it now is because they advertised the fucking shit out of it.
Yeah.
The whole time I was watching Royal Rumble.
Oh, really?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, because it's because it's a Peacock Premium movie, so they're like, this is the next big movies that we need to advertise. And it's got an entire album of new Jennifer Lopez songs, of course. Most of them which are catchy, except for, I would say, like, the literal title track of the movie, Marry Me. I'm not a music connoisseur. I'm not going to say that it, this was composed very asininely and very... it's a very novice type film. I feel like...
Asinine and novice? Those are your pulls?
I'm not a dictionary either, all right? Can we try to remain professional here?
Hey, you can't post in the group chat some fucking bullshit, I got the Wordle in one guess type nonsense.
We don't have to...
And then come on here.
We don't have to, like... That was a joke, obviously. I'll never get it in one guess. My starting word is a very basic word that I know has probably already been the word, so... It doesn't matter. It was written by John Rogers, who, of course, wrote The Core and Transformers.
Of course, yeah.
So... this and based on the graphic novel by Bobby Crosby. It's a very basic so watery it's like, why would you drink this?
It's dishwater.
It's ew. It's no, because you can't possibly drink that and think that's okay.
Well, no, but
tap water.
Yeah,
we'll say tap water. It's the tap water of romantic dramedy.
Nice tepid tap water.
It's Owen Wilson being a dad. He gets dragged by his best friend Sarah Silverman, who's also a teacher. They're both teachers at this I guess elementary school, and he gets invited to go to this concert with Sarah Silverman's character, and he brings along his daughter, who he's kind of like, I don't know if on the rocks is not the right phrase. It's distant with his daughter. Not because he's trying to be the best dad he can be, but he's obviously he's kind of lonely after separating from his wife. So anyway, they get dragged to this this big event, this Royal Rumble of these Jennifer Lopez and her boyfriend, played by Maluma. I can't remember the character's name. I think it's Bastian. And they're these two big pop stars, and they're going to get married on stage after performing their new hit single, Marry Me. But right as they're about to go on stage, Jennifer Lopez finds out that he has been cheating on her. So she's like, fuck it. And finds Owen Wilson in the audience holding a sign saying, Marry Me. And she's like, yeah, I'll marry this guy. And so they bring him on stage, and they say I do to each other, and they run off, and they're like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And everyone's like, yeah, this is fucking crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy, man.
Timely old school reference.
Yeah, woo. Shows where it shows where our maturity level is at. That's where it's at. And over the course of the movie, they're trying to figure out what the plan is on how they want to eventually break up over a certain amount of time to save face for Jennifer Lopez's character, because she's on social media all over the place. But over the course of the movie, I'm straight up spoiling it because it's so fucking boringly written. Over the course of the movie, they learn to fall in love with each other, and even though she tries to get back with Bastian to because she gets nominated for an award, she's like, I gotta go perform this song with him. Owen Wilson tries to take her back, and it all happily ever after. It's so lukewarm and tepid. The only thing I will say is that the chemistry between Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson is, of course, pretty damn good, because they're both pretty decent actors. Owen Wilson doesn't say wow once, which
Wow. Oh, no.
0 out of 5 stars.
Around. Turn the bus around. Negative stars. Bullshit. We come in here expecting some goddamn wows. And you're not going to drop even one?
No one. Not one. Wow. Owen. Wow. So that's us pissed. We're confronting Owen Wilson, at his manor in Dallas.
Yes. Manifesting the wows for the next project he's in.
I will say Owen Wilson also looks like a mannequin. It feels like his
just in general or in the movie?
In the movie. I mean, it's probably in real life too. He just looks kind of fake in a way. Which is ironic because he makes fun of Jennifer Lopez's character having like hair extensions or fake bangs or whatever. But his hair looks like a wig the entire movie, and it bothered me. Like, I'm pretty sure he's bald, or he's being a bald character in another movie or something. I don't know. It's okay.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Right.
Zach sneezed for audio listeners, but he muted his mic. Oh, he's sneezing again.
Oh, God.
You okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Does Bastion, does the character Bastion, does he talk like, and then the stranger
No.
walked in? Oh.
No, he's very much a, what's up, my mommy? What's up? Or what's up, Poppy? How's it going? Yo.
See, this is what I'm talking about when you have professional impressionists right here.
Yeah.
Why would you...
Please do not
CG?
crucify me for that. I'm not... He's joking, obviously. And I cannot do accents, But...
So hearing all this, the only thing I can focus on is now I want a wrestling angle where the winner of the Royal Rumble, they do that stupid point to the sign, I'm going to WrestleMania every time they win. Instead of pointing to the WrestleMania sign, I want them to point to a fucking rando in the crowd and be like, "You're my spouse now." And there's a whole angle.
Isn't that like part of the plot of Ready to Rumble, the movie with Stewie? I think.
What?
Don't they like win a chance to like win the belt or whatever? Not David Schwimmer. Holy shit. Oh my God, help me out. Who plays Dewey in Scream?
Oh, David Arquette.
David Arquette. Thank you. David Arquette.
Is that the plot of that movie?
And Scott Conn. Yeah, they were both in Ready to Rumble, and like I don't know. Hold on. I want to look up the plot to Ready to Rumble. This is
with WCW champion David Arquette.
Yes. I fucking hate that that's a thing. But good for him. He earned it, I think.
Well, sure.
Ready to...
That's one way to look at it.
2000 film by Brian Robbins. Oh, wow, that poster. The film is also notable for... I don't care. Oh, it's the debut of future wrestler John Cena. By the way, watch Peacemaker. We haven't been talking about Peacemaker. I've been watching Peacemaker. It's the best DC EU property.
Yeah, I need to get
It's actually a decent, good show. Dim-witted sewage workers Gordy Boggs and Sean Dawkins watch their favorite wrestler, WCW World Heavyweight Champion Jimmy King, played by, who is that? Oliver Platt. Cheated out of the title by Diamond Dallas Page. R.I.P.? Is he alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
He's alive?
He's got like a whole yoga thing going on. Yeah, he's like a life coach.
Good for you. Yeah, he lives in Point Pleasant.
I think he actually showed up in AEW like a year or so.
Oh, that's cool. Blah, 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 blah. After the match, the duo expressed their rage while driving in their septic truck. They crashed their car, but somehow survived. Car crash was supposed to happen, and that they should make Jimmy King once again the W. Oh, so no, it's just them training Oliver Platt to be the... Okay, I forgot. But anyway.
So my Rumble marriage idea is still intact. It needs to happen. I want it. We do all these stupid fucking romance angles in wrestling anyway.
I guess.
Switch up the Rumble.
I guess, yeah. You can either fight me or marry me. Ugh.
I love it. That's amazing.
Wow, the testosterone in this podcast. I don't know how to feel about it. The next movie I watched is I Want You Back, starring Charlie Day and Jenny Slate.
I never left.
Oh. Marry me. I planned it all. It's I Want You Back. If you're not, Death on the Nile. I'm taking you all the way to Egypt. I'm killing you. Get ready.
Jesus Christ. I think I'm gonna need some distance.
On Amazon Prime Video, the movie stars, of course, Charlie Day, Jenny Slate, Gina Rodriguez, Scott Eastwood, Manny Jacinto from The Good Place, and Mason Gooding. It's all about Charlie's character and Jenny's character both get broken up. Not harshly at all. In fact, this is kind of a Ted Lasso type of movie where everyone's pretty much a decent person. Like, no one's really an asshole or a villain. But Charlie and Jenny both get broken up, and they meet each other on the staircase of the building they work at. And they're like, hey, do you want to be like each other's, I wouldn't say cock blocks. They're both trying to like keep each other from trying to call back their exes to get back with them. And over the course of the movie, they try to like scheme to get back with their respective partners because they feel like they're the one. And over the course of the movie, they learn to, like each other, etc. Kind of a similar premise to the previous film, but
go figure.
But what I will say is that I think that what Marry Me lacked in the kind of plot and story aspects to kind of push the narrative along, I felt more engaged with I Want You Back. With Charlie Day's and Jenny Slate's characters, I felt like they were way more grounded and real, and the dialogue between them and the exchanges between them, it felt more natural. And so I definitely felt more engaged watching the film and kind of wanted certain characters to get with certain characters, and that ends up, subverting your expectations because it doesn't go the way that you think. It just definitely felt more like a real story that I obviously got engaged. I've already stated my basic point. Do not recognize the director or the writers. I believe this may be one of their first outings. But I thought it was a thoroughly enjoyable romantic comedy. I think with the cast involved, you expect it to be way more comedy based with Charlie Day's background and Jenny Slate's background, but they're way more. They're still laughs, but they're more straight laced in their characters. It just the comedy comes naturally.
Nice.
Not a lot more to say about that. It's actually the movie I finished watching right before we started recording. But I will say, when I don't have that much else to add, that's probably a good thing. It's a more...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's indicative of a nice, entertaining, decent time.
It's not, nobody's dying of cancer. Nobody's...
not going to blow your mind. It's not going to make you weep.
Yeah. I actually teared up at one specific point. And it's kind of the point where you're kind of expected to tear up. So it hit me. I didn't tear up in Marry Me, which says a lot about the wig-wearing Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez.
Well, I can tell you why that didn't happen.
Why?
It's because you felt the lacking of a wow.
Yeah. Or I was
a wow-shaped hole in your heart. Fill his hole, Owen.
Fill my hole, Owen. And thanks for watching Lights, Camera, Nonsense, where we give you all the latest movie magic you may have missed. Tune in every 2 weeks for the latest news, reviews, and what else, Zach?
How do you do?
How do you do's? Have a happy Valentine's Day, even though it's contrived and basically a consumer holiday. If you're sad and alone, come visit us at lightscameranonsense.com. We'll hang out with you.
We'll show you a good time.
No, you can't. We gotta cut. We'll see you next time.
Bye.